Hello and welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show. We have a cast of celebrities tonight joining us. Mr. Howie Darkstar, who is our superstar engineer producer, did a show right before this one because we're recording this one early. I've got stuff going on this week. I can't be here to do it live tomorrow, unfortunately, again, but maybe next week. Anyway, he just did a show with the girls on grammar. And I thought right here on the top of the show, we'd go ahead and pick on him a little bit. What do you say?
I said stick around.
Yeah.
Too much.
Well, first of all, I mean, hearing Lori talk, we must trigger the hell out of her on the show.
I think so.
Just everything we say she must just be pins and needles.
I get yells in the background from Michele all the time. That's not proper. What? And I'm trying to do the show. And I'm getting this voice.
I'm not going to attack anybody. Don't worry, girls. I'm not going to beat you up.
No, can I just say something?
They want us to be our
When I'm in here and when I'm watching you guys, it is pure enjoyment. And I don't have my teacher hat on at
Entertainment.
all.
Well, good. Good.
Seriously. It
Vegas,
is
by the
like,
way.
do you see I'm practically doubling up with laughter most of the time, like in the chill room. I'm just saying. So
Jay's in Vegas.
No.
He
I'm in
wants
Vegas.
He's in Vegas. And he got a shout out. He got a shout out from the lanyard guy at Wedding.
Yes,
Day.
the lanyard guy who I don't know said, "Hey man, love your show with Brian and Howie." I'm like, "Oh, awesome. Thank you." And the guy
Somebody's
next to me was
watching.
like, "Well, you have a show?" I'm like, I'm kind of a big deal.
I'm kind of a big deal. I'm on the Tuesday Night Music Show every week.
We should always do this because I have a little mini fridge right next to me, and like literally, like just talking, I can keep constant. And look, more White Claws. So
Nice.
yeah,
Because we all need you more intoxicated on this broadcast than you already are. We all need you to be more loopy
got my
and more
stuff.
chatty.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
please
yeah.
drink more. It helps.
Have you guys figured out a mute button for Jay?
I was going to have Howie integrate that and
Hasn't
get
worked
around
yet.
to it.
No,
We'll get around to it.
Michele, our lawyer,
I do.
Izzy Iskowitz from Dewey Cheaterman Howe, he's put that in the contract. No mute button.
No mute button. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep, that's why
I
we're
was-
making $600K a show. And
I was doing things as Howie's show was happening, and I was listening, not sitting here watching, but I was listening to some of the things that you were saying. And yeah, something Jay said off air I wanted to address right away, though. You had said that you feel like that society is just like, it's de-evolution at this point. It's getting worse and worse and
Yeah.
worse.
Devo needs to redo their entire act and start
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I kind of disagree there. And the reason I do is because I was thinking about some of the things that Lori was saying and Michele was saying in the earlier broadcast, where they were talking about the use of there. Like there's several different ways to spell that. And when you're trying to do professional correspondence with a client, you probably should get those right because you see them wrong sometimes in social media and such. I will tell you that I am not formally educated, but I have learned so much with a computer in front of me, the spell correct, to get those things right. And now I know them. So now I do it right. The computer actually helped me kind of correct that problem that I had.
Yep.
I still do it.
I get that. You know what, Brian? If you have to go out without a computer, and the one that I always trip on myself is effect
An
and
effect.
Effect.
Yeah. Well, me too.
so
Me too.
there are times where, it's even then and then, where it's like, this happened, then this, or then. And there are moments where it didn't dawn on me, before, but with Michelle's, loving help, aka screaming,
Right.
you're not sending this out. Move away from the computer.
Right. Get out of the way.
Do not do that. Stop it.
Eric, you had something you wanted to say.
I'm just sitting here silent. I'm just enjoying this.
Oh, okay.
Hey, drink a couple more. It's getting better.
Don't worry, dude.
Yeah, keep
We'll be
going.
on next week.
Who
Yeah.
was the attorney? Dewey Cheater and
Izzy
Slight?
Itzquitz from Dewey Cheaterman Howe. That's my agent. So
Nice.
No, but it's one of those things where you understand that, and I'm going to be blunt for what it's worth.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Shocking.
This is my new one, Brian. So you're going to want to call me on this in 6 months about stop saying I'll be blunt because I'm trying to redo the.
Well, verbal tics is something I
honest
wanted to discuss with the girls in the room, but go ahead.
To be honest here, but you know what? The $100 an hour client doesn't care.
Mm.
The $300, $400, $500 an hour client does.
Oh, I would disagree. I don't think it's like I think it could be across the board.
I'm with Michele on this.
Mm-hmm.
See, okay. So
I seem to have a problem with the internet, guys. I don't know what's
it's
going
not
on
working.
here.
I don't know what's going on.
Seems like there's some
Agreement is not
here.
cycling.
Planet Hollywood is not working now.
I put a picture up today of my parents when they got married in 1959. And if you don't know, my family is from what they would consider Southern Indiana. And there's a very different way of speaking down there than would be the American accent, the California television accent, I guess is what you would call it. There are words we use.
Oh, hell yes.
So, okay, Stevie's mother, all right, who, is a friendly of mine now. Let's just clear that. We're cool. Used to correct a lot of the things that I used to say that were, and excuse me, I have brain damage. I'm going to try to get this word out, colloquialisms of the region. And I was ridiculed for speaking in this way. I didn't write this way, but I spoke this way. And she shamed me for it. So that happened to me so much that I really resent grammar police. Like anybody who tries to correct me like that, I resent them because really I'm doing my best and I'm speaking as I was brought up to speak. And I don't know, there's a conversation I had with my daughter probably, 10 years ago. The kid is smart. She's really smart.
Yeah, Stevie's smart.
And she was speaking, I felt like, over people's heads. And I told her, I said, Stevie, listen, I give you an A+ on grammar. And I give you an A+ on just knowing all of these nice, big $5 words. But I give you a D on being able to effectively communicate with people because you're talking over their heads. Bring it down to folks a little bit. It's a little more friendly that way. When you start, using all of these big $5 words, like they're going out of style, some people may not want to talk to you. Some people may think that you're talking about the hoity-toity snooty thing. Yeah, I think that's where that comes from. It's like a superiority thing, especially if you take that and you put scolding people for using colloquialisms on top of that. One that I can give you an example of that she used to torture me about was "idn't" and "wouldn't." I know these aren't real words. I know they're not, but that's just how people speak where my mother and father are from, and that's how I was raised to speak. And I still use those words. I got rid of a lot of it. Like I don't say washing machine anymore. That I don't do. But
well, growing up in the woods in Tennessee, Brian, it's a little bit different when you age and I think that what it comes down to, and it's very DJ relatable. It comes down to reading the room.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Eric, you had something.
So I find myself kind of coming up with a lot of those things too. In upstate New York, I will say, I'm going to the store. GOIN apostrophe to the store.
Going.
But when I announce, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us and we are going to start the show. Do you do it when you become DJ Brian? Or do you think you clean that up?
I don't know. I think I clean it up because I know better.
Yeah,
I know better, but when I'm relaxed and I'm just having conversation, it's very different than when I'm trying, and really another thing I wanted to bring up here with this, and I really appreciate the relationship that Howie and Lori have with this, and Jay and Michele have with this. Your strengths and weaknesses. So if there's something that you don't feel like you're really good at, you can go to your partner and they can help you out. I did it a lot this week in my prep. I mean, in another way, not in grammar, but and just trying to get information about different things I have to do this week that are out of my wheelhouse. So I always think it's really good a really great idea to go to someone who knows more about a subject than you do. And in this case, it would be grammar. So you can do that.
Yeah, but and like I said earlier, it's one of those things where I love those colloquialisms. I love that, when you go, I had an old roommate, Jennifer Mish, and she was from Texas. So the term fixing.
Fixing with an N.
With an
fixing.
N. No
Fixin'.
G. That's right.
That's
You're
right.
Fixing was just a term that, and all of a sudden after a little while, you're like, you started to copy, and you're like, I'm like, yeah, I'm fixing to go to work today. Like, wait a second, I'm from Boston.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I live with La Vida Loca. I know what it's like to copy stuff.
right, exactly. Yeah. Well, your pronunciation of Spanish words is better than most people I know that are Spanish. Because you're like, I'm having arroz con pollo. I'm like, what? What is this, Brian? He's like, arroz con pollo. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Taco seasoning.
Yeah, no. It's Brian has got that shit down in like spades. Like he's got it.
Well, again, like we were talking about before, if I say it wrong, I'm ridiculed for it. I don't like
But
that.
do you agree with this or not, Brian? When you speak to people, do you not try to always speak on their level?
Yeah, I do.
I do too.
100%.
Like I will drop stuff if I feel it helps the environment.
Yep.
My wedding on Saturday, Groom and I are speaking. Sorry, and I noticed he's coming at me in certain ways, and I adapted to that and went back to him in the same way. I don't want to make anyone feel I'm better than them, and I think there's a certain level of fear that people have when it comes to speaking and writing that they get really anxious. And I
Lori's
think our
raising
job
her
to
hand.
Lori and Brian want to
I
say
feel so
something to you.
bad for her. She's raising her hand. She has something.
Oh,
I am raising.
okay.
I just
Eric's
wanted
done
to
it,
say, I'm from Philadelphia originally. I always, when I'm speaking, especially to my peeps, my relatives from Philly, G yet? I mean, come on. I am not as proper as I am at school.
Right.
I have to be setting an example. And I also have to bring it down because I'm working with learning support kids in 4th and 5th grade. But even in a text, when I'm using colloquialisms, if I say I'm going, Goin apostrophe, I don't leave off that apostrophe, but absolutely, because that's the way I speak in real life. But when I walk through the doors of my building, this comes over and I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to use the proper grammar. It's just like, it's like a magical thing. And I go right through the doors and I'm Mrs. Kilmer, the grammar crazy person.
But don't you think there's a certain romance about being able to live in two worlds that way? On my yearbook page, I graduated high school in 2010. On my yearbook page,
It looks like the bad guy in every 80s movie.
On my yearbook page,
The
one of
jock that
first
beat everybody up with a
comments I
sweater.
made was SUP,
There's
SUP.
Bueller's girlfriends.
And SUP is what is up. But we said SUP. And it was just that thing, you know? It's just like,
Fun.
hold on, staff's here. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Eric, you had your hand raised like a polite young man.
Well, you know what? All right. So that goes back. You said Lori and I both had our hands raised, right?
Yes.
Fun fact number 123 of Eric Wilson. He used to teach English composition at Paul Smith College for a few years.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So we
whoa.
we
Throwing
both
that
raised
in the
our
ring,
hand.
aren't you?
This is how I got into this whole career of entertainment full time. So I learned something from the Guru Jay. He said, and this was something a couple months ago, probably several months ago now as time has passed, about responding to somebody in a text message, not too formally, but come back at them. If they're saying, you know, we're probably going to take you for 5 hours, PROLLY, I would not come back with a probably. That just, I can't do it. You know, I mean, my brain would start to fizzle. But I think that hitting them, you know, straight on and not going over the top of them,
Right.
I think is good.
Yeah.
You know, and Jay
Finding
also said,
time.
responding to an email. If they say, hi, Jay, our wedding's going to be on such and such a date, and you respond back, thank you for the email, Brian. I'd love to discuss it further. And they don't come back with your name. They just come back with, That sounds great. Let's talk Tuesday. You wouldn't come back with the name again. You follow what I mean?
Yeah, you have to respond in kind, I think.
It becomes conversational
level,
at that
second
point,
level, and then even I would still sign my name the third time I respond. It's just EW because I think we're getting more personal now.
Yeah.
Less formal. So
right.
I think you have to bring to the game what they're bringing to you. And that's where the challenge for me has always been as we've moved forward. You know, you go back 10, 12 years ago in emails where it's like, hi, Jay, comma, you know, we saw you at a wedding. We did this. And there's this whole, you know, soliloquy about everything they've seen. Can we talk? Now it's like, hi, Brandon, because they think I'm Brandon of Brandon Entertainment, comma, how much for a wedding? And I've got to respond to that. And I try to respond nicely by saying, hey, congratulations, you're getting married. What's the date? Yeah. Question mark. And I don't sign it. And then they come back and give me an answer. And then I try to pull it out. And it goes back, and Michele will appreciate this. Michele and I met, by the way, real quick, in a restaurant called El Chorritos in 1993 on October 28th. And it's a date
sixth grade.
Every year changes my world because it's when I realized I met somebody that I would spend the rest of my life with. So at El Chorritos, what would happen a lot of times is I would have a guy come in with a minor girl. And I would go to the bar as a bartender, I would say to him, hey guys, how's it going? What can I get for you? And the guy would say, 2 strawberry margaritas. Okay, and that meant to me, he's ordering for her being a gentleman / she's underage. So I would say, sugar or salt? And he would look at her and ask her a question. She would answer him and he would answer me. So I would add to it, Cuervo or regular? Like I would just keep beating it up. And then eventually she would have to speak. And that's when I would say, can I see some ID? I don't have any. And it was the biggest giveaway of, you know, you're not ready for this kind of thing. And it goes to the comments, you know, hey, we're getting married. Hey, good for you. Like,
good for you.
Like,
better you than me.
Like, wow, that's awesome. Like, there's no question here. We're getting married. Okay. But we have to be professionals. And I've always found when you give them the 2 paragraphs of, well, that's awesome, I offer all these things, you're missing the point. I think it's Alan Berg that said, respond in kind. Like if they send you a 1-line, you know, question, hey, I'm getting married on July 10th, how much? Answer them in 1 line.
So
that sounds great. Where?
I have a question for Michele. Do you appreciate this? Like Jay said you were going to. I was curious. He said you
brought up the El Chorritos when we met on October 28th, 1993, when I realized I had met the woman that I would spend the rest of my life with and be deeply in love with her forever.
7 years before you graduated high school.
I appreciate you said that, or I appreciate that we met.
Okay. Apparently, I need to call Dewey Itzkwitz, who is Izzy Itzkwitz's lawyer's brother, and have a discussion now. I can't believe this is happening.
There's something that I've done before, and I do my best to not do it. And that is, you're talking about speaking to people on their level.
Yeah.
I think you can go too far.
Oh, I do too.
And I've caught myself doing that before, and it's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. Like if I'm talking to somebody from the South and I start using a whole lot of Southern words.
There you go. Well, I'll be at the preview.
All of a sudden, y'all's coming out of my mouth. I'm like, I don't speak like this. I'm playing down to them at this point.
But don't you play that
out? The way to go.
But you say you're playing it down. Right? Don't you also play it up a little bit when you get that accent? If you're on the phone, where you're like, "Where are you from?" I'm from Mobile, Alabama. Oh my God, that's awesome! And you try to find that connection where it's like there's ground.
When I speak to my brother, who still has a strong Oklahoma accent because he lived there for probably 25 years,
right?
I find it coming out.
And he has a dope yellow Datsun Love.
No, it's not that.
Datsun, the Chevy Love.
But it's there. It's there.
Yeah.
When I speak to certain people, I need to just realize that there's like a buffer zone that I'm okay in, but I can go too far.
Right.
Robin Williams, I think it was in the movie Mrs. Doubtfire. He was doing the puppet show or something, and the producer came up to him and said, "Man, you really do well with these kids." And he says, "Well, you don't play down to them, you just play to them."
Right.
And I never forgot that. I'm like,
That
that's
totally makes
it.
sense.
So when I use words I wouldn't normally use with people in conversation to try to be hip and cool, it's just whack. I can't do that. I got to stop myself from doing that. I've done it. It's embarrassing. And yeah, it's just a confession.
when you and I speak on the phone and you say "Afternoon, Governor," and I'm always like,
yeah, always. Always.
I think that the one time that it can play in your favor, because I know you've done this, Jay, is
No, I haven't.
being from Boston.
Oh,
you
yeah.
put on that Boston accent in a heartbeat if you have a client who's from Boston,
Uh-huh.
or from the East Coast somewhere that you're familiar with, and being able to
relate,
talk to them. Yeah, they bring on the lingo and then they finally have a common ground, and it creates a relationship. And
yeah, because stupid Red Sox fans, they all support each other.
Yeah.
Well, but don't you? But I think that's
that natural, or is that a conscious decision?
I think it's
that you're
exciting.
going there.
No, I think it's conscious that you're going there because you're excited.
I don't know that I'm talking like a hillbilly when my brother and I are speaking. I don't know that until someone points it out to me. It's like, what happened to you? It's like, what are you talking about? Oh, sorry.
You got a piece of straw hanging out of your mouth.
Right. I don't even know I'm doing it. It comes out. I didn't know if it was that with the bar.
Marble Light's been replaced by a straw husk or something.
I think that was the same sort of thing in Vegas when we were there. When we first
I'm here now, by the way. I'm in Vegas.
Met John C. I met him first, at the Monday night get together.
Yeah.
And then you were there and you guys were at the bar and I came up. You didn't know that I already met John, and you were talking in that Boston accent, but you were like, "Hey, why don't you meet my brother from Boston? This is John Cawley. I'll die for this guy," And I was like, "Yes, yes, I did. We did." And we were laughing. We said, "Yes, we met," but you were full Boston.
Yeah, just so we're clear, Michelle, this was a night where I was drinking Diet Coke. Mm-hmm. And I feel that the saccharin in the Diet Coke
nothing with the Jack Daniels.
Saccharin. That's a thing. Yeah.
That's still around?
I've learned a lot tonight. Eric's revealed a big secret about being a professor. And Jay, with the word soliloquy, oh my God.
That was impressive. He cashed that one in, like dropping it like it was hot. It's like, I got one for you.
I do what I can.
He bombed us.
Isn't language, though, a lot like music? Because depending on where you are and who you're speaking with.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa,
100%. Well, look at poems, Lori. It's a great example. You read a poem that you look at the words initially and go, I don't understand where this is going. And then you reread and reread and reread, and you suddenly go, oh my God, what a beautiful image and picture this is painted. Because words are much more artistic than we give them credit.
Well,
good night, everybody. That's all I got.
All right. I think a very nice soliloquy. Nice, I can't even say it.
I think the point is really
talking
good.
Like a sonnet.
The point is well made and taken, that when it comes to professional communications, this is a very important thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Very important.
Mm-hmm. We all know great orators over time. Winston Churchill, being a man that was credited with having over 500,000 words in his vocabulary, and quotes that he would do. And, Roosevelt with certain quotes, the man in the arena. It's a great quote, and it talks about how the person that is remembered is not the one that didn't try, but the one that didn't fail. And there are all those moments, and I think we should all love and embrace that. I love Calvin Coolidge. You say, why would you love him?
Yeah, why?
It's a great quote about Calvin Coolidge expressing about what it takes to be successful and what it takes to win. And part of it, the quote is very simply, you know what? We all know people that are educated. That won't do it. We know people that know a lot of things. That won't do it. But it's the man or woman of perseverance that tries and continues to work at it that eventually wins. And it's the life lessons that, words give us that I think we should carry with us forward. And I think throwing quotes out once in a while is a great thing because it not only shows that you care, but it shows that you're well-read, educated, and I think clients in general will respect that.
I'm totally not any of those things, but
Jay drank smart water today.
What's that?
Jay drank smart water today.
Yeah,
He
really.
did. He did.
As DJs though, it's tough because I don't know. I may have said this before, which is kind of a side effect of some of the brain damage I've suffered, but I do repeat myself occasionally, but it's tough. We have to be everything. Usually we are in this by ourselves. Yep. We are doing our own press. We're doing our own marketing. Of course, we're doing our own performance stuff, managing our own books, everything. It's not like we have a staff of people. Most of us are on our own with it. Well, Eric does. Eric's got a staff.
Yeah,
Eric does. Oh, yeah. That whole
Here's what I'm doing when we get done. See this right here?
Yeah.
Those are people that are yelling at me like, where's my contract?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing tonight.
You're doing the clerical stuff. We have so many hats to wear that it's tough sometimes.
I put on glasses. Instead of a hat, I put on glasses. Because I've been looking at a computer screen for too many years.
Well, that logo behind you, the whole believe it or not, yeah. That's what it is, right?
Like green screen.
That's not a new thing, right? That's totally the American Hero thing. I'm just saying.
Something I did want to address, though, is interesting. I think Eric asked me about using colloquialisms during performance. Do I say those things on the microphone?
Oh, good question.
And, I think it depends on what kind of MC you are. Jay is his MC style, the way he presents it, is probably more proper than the way I do.
But if I know they're from Boston, I will always say, let me translate. I understand we have a lot of people from the Massachusetts area, so I would like to translate. If you guys want to sit back and just have a shot, because we're going to have a wicked meal in a second, and people love that. So if I was in a marketplace where there were certain colloquialisms, I would love to play up on that because I think people enjoy it. Because people respect you if you understand who they are, what they eat, and what they're about. That's what I've always believed. That's why every time I do a show, I try to get something local in me. So when I go back to the next one, I can say, oh, where are you from? Arkansas. Oh, my God, I was just in Russellville. I had this thing, yada, yada, yada. And if I bring it up, they feel I appreciate them and respect them.
Well, we've been talking about MC styles, and we all have different styles. You and I both agree that our styles are different. I have said it over and over again, and to the point where people are probably sick of hearing it. I take a lot of my cues from stand-up comedy when it comes to this stuff.
You do.
Not that I'm trying to be funny, but I'm trying to be natural.
Yes.
And I'm trying to act like this isn't written down. I'm not reading a script. I'm just saying stuff. It's improvisational. And in the improv, I'm probably slipping some of that stuff in there. I probably am. But I'm definitely doing it more so in front of some audiences than others.
But it comes back to what I said earlier about reading the room. You're doing exactly what you should do, because if you're speaking to a group that's one way, speak to them that way. Feel comfortable. If you're speaking to another group that's another way, go that way. Our goal and job is not to judge or be definitive in our opinion. It's to simply allow them to feel comfortable.
I was reading something today, and it was said like the most hated professions out there. Okay. And the top 3 were DJs, lawyers, and the grammar police.
I made that up.
Where did you read this?
Yeah, he just...
Where did you?
He was looking at he was reading it.
I'm just saying. I wrote it down and I read it. That's what happened.
Well, I saw the same.
Heard it here first.
I saw a thing today in Las Vegas here. Let's go, Brandon, where they were talking about the exact same thing, and it was, who do you not trust? Who do you not feel faith in? But yet I'm at a show, obviously, as we've stated 55 friggin' times, I'm in Vegas at Wedding MBA.
Jay, are you in Vegas?
I'm in Vegas, actually.
Oh.
Believe it or not. Yeah.
Go to Vegas sometime.
Here, we'll do the quick room tour. That's the room over there. And
Like
there we go.
there.
Well, not sweet, but nice. How's that?
This isn't a suite?
I don't. It looks just like a room to
Where's
me.
my phone?
It's nice.
I need to make a phone.
It's lovely.
You got to call Izzy.
Yeah.
Looks like it's got 3 rooms there. Maybe I'm wrong.
There's a bathroom.
Well,
I'm sorry.
4 rooms, but it's not what I expect. No, but it's one of those things where I'm talking to wedding professionals about dealing with clients, and it's so funny to me to hear the perspective of, well, just tell them. And I'm like, I really want to work with them. I don't think you can ever work with someone you tell. I think you can work with people you ask or suggest or, but not tell. So I kind of like your perspective, Brian, on, I'm gonna bleed this in. I'm gonna kind of become you. Because if you speak to people and what they want and hear and know, they're gonna be happy. Isn't that what it's all about?
I don't know. I mean, that's just a style, and there's no right or wrong here. I really do like Michelle's perspective on this. I was listening to her speak and talking about, the points that she was making and how, and their level of importance to her. And I felt like Michelle was sensible about it. I felt like that it was friendly. I didn't feel like I was personally being attacked. Lori, on the other hand, I felt abused. I felt like I was getting smacked around.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm telling you,
Wow.
you were very.
Oh,
It must be this
Honey,
way,
shut
and
off
if
the
it's not this
computer.
way, it's incorrect.
Go like
and
this and shut off.
I
the
make
computer.
children cry.
I can see how.
No, I make it super fun.
I wasn't enjoying myself. I am now because I'm in charge. I can say whatever I want, but I'm just picking on you. No, really. Thank
Brian's
you so
pulling
much.
it's the stroke thing, and just
I have that too. I do legitimately
Just in
have
case you
that.
need
And
to-
the word.
No, I know you do, but I love how you're gonna this gets waved. Poor Lori's gonna be like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
I'm gonna go cry into my
No, you're
soup.
fine. You're fine. When I'm under stress or when I'm tired, I screw up words. It's just what it is.
Well,
So do
And-
I.
No, I mean more so than I did before I had brain damage. I remember the first time that I got called out on it. I was embarrassed. It was in Vegas. I was talking to one of the guys, the setup. Yeah, there where Jay is. I was talking to one of the guys at one of the companies that I was doing some stuff for. And he asked me a question, and the word sometimes is what I was trying to say, but it came out sometimes. And I certainly didn't mean for it to, but I just got off a plane. I made the walk of death from the room to the convention hall.
Yeah.
And I was winded, and he looked at me and said, "Oh, sometimes, huh?" I'm like, yeah, sorry about that. Oh, God. It was Alfred Gonzalez. I just call him out.
yeah.
That's who it was.
He's
Made me
not
feel
watching.
bad, Alfred
You'd expect
Gonzalez.
He doesn't know enough to watch the great shows that we're.
He doesn't watch this. I'll just call him out.
Yeah,
I
call
felt
him out.
terrible. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Now, see, that's
sound that
something I would
stupid?
never do. I mean, there's a place for the proper grammar. Like the title of the show was, digital communication.
Right.
But
Right.
but face to face, I would not dare call somebody out or make fun of them or shame them. That's just not
Depends
cool
on the
at all.
relationship, though, right?
No.
People
Would you
do
call-
what they do in person, and it may or may not work with what you think they should do, but it's not going to change who they are.
Right.
We kind of have to stop sometimes and say, you can't fix stupid. I said it.
There, you said it.
There's this
called us
communications thing that's, I mean, especially when you're dealing with people who don't speak English as their.
Okay, fine. I didn't go that far, but
No, but I was just thinking of this time. Does anybody here remember Foz?
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Fozzie. Okay.
yeah, from
I'm
Germany.
in a cab with Fozzie, his wife at the time, or his fiance at the time, Nadia, Brian Dowdle, and myself. We're in a cab, and no one says a word. And all of a sudden, very loudly,
And he was loud.
Foz says,
He is loud.
I just totally destroyed my pants.
Oh, no.
Well, he got a rip in his pants. But for any of you hearing that,
Oh, yeah. That could mean many things. Big Fosse?
Yeah.
That could be
Brian Dowdle
Big.
was
Underline
like
big.
ready
Thank
to
you, Eric.
destroy his own pants in laughter on that one.
Yeah. Big boy. Big boy.
And you know what? Sometimes I would tease those guys on some of the things that they would say just because it was funny to me. And it was, I don't know, I wasn't doing it to be mean. I was doing it because, I couldn't help it. It was funny. They would say just things that didn't really mean what they thought they meant. And it was very funny. Blanca does it all the time.
Destroy your pants?
No, she does not do that. And you better not say that too loud. She's up there, and
Dude, you really want to take her on, Eric?
You don't wanna go there.
I've stated his
It's her birthday or something, isn't it?
Don't take her on.
I've told this story before.
Don't take her on.
This was years ago when she was working, and I came home after work, and it was very cold. We weren't talking, but she looked over and she said, I was watching the morning show today. I said, I thought you went to work. She says, I did. But I was watching the morning show after work. Like, you get off at like 3:00 in the afternoon. How were you watching the morning show? And I got to thinking about that. She's trying to say Maury. Like Maury Povich. And she couldn't say it. Like, oh, Maury. Yes. Maury. Whatever. Same shit. I'm like, no.
You are the father.
Different.
No.
They had these people on there, these couples, and they were talking about bonding. You're not into that, are you? I'm like, what are you talking about? Just gross. I don't know. That's pretty gross, man. I'm like, oh, bondage? Yeah, bondage, same shit. I'm like, no, honey, not the same. These are the kind of things we do a lot. I was going to start a blog called Shit Blanca Says.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Some of the stuff is very funny.
Yeah, no, she's a doll about that stuff. It's like, even when I stayed at your place, it's like, hey, you want to come with us? Going here. It's like, no, 2 packs cigarettes, coffee. Okay, we'll go. Like, there was no discussion.
Yeah.
No.
I'm like, so what are we doing? He's like, well, drive you around, show you the town, this and that. Cigarettes, coffee. All right, cool.
Yeah, there aren't too many questions around here. You kind of know what's going on.
I think, Brian, what it comes down to is, and I certainly see this with my 2 beautiful boys, communications are different now. They're not what they were, but I will say they are very similar to what we did then. My example being earlier when I said sup. Like in Boston, I would say, hey, sup, S-U-P. And that is, what is up? And we all have these expressions that we know and use, and we get it. But the new generation, they're not even going that far. They're not even doing 3 letters. They're doing like 1 or 2.
SLAP.
Like they can't even express that.
Well,
so
while we're on the
Or they
subject,
just use acronyms,
right. But
Michele, while we're on the subject,
like in 5 years, if I do a wedding for a 22-year-old, that 22-year-old is like my 16-year-old now. What am I going to say when they like like what?
well, that's mush mouth. But I wanted to take a minute.
No, but am I going to get held back on it?
I wanted to take a minute to talk about verbal tics. Michele, are there any verbal tics that drive you crazy? Where people just kind of repetitively say the same thing over and over again?
No.
I'm going to leave the show, everyone. Thank you. Good night. Thank you, everybody.
I know, Jake, cover your ears. No, verbal tics.
That's what drives me nuts. I mean, you can screw up a there, here and there, but when you have a verbal tic, I hone in on that stuff. It drives me crazy. And one that the DJs do a lot is, ladies and gentlemen, at this time.
Oh God.
Which is just
good night,
insanity.
everybody.
Every time they turn on the microphone, they'll say those things to get everyone's attention. But there are other verbal tics. I've got a nephew. He does carpet installation. He does a great job. He does all our carpet. And whenever we replace carpet. And he came over last time to do the studio. It was probably about, 3 or 4 years ago. And I asked him a question about something. He said, "Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll take care of it." Next time I asked him a question, absolutely, absolutely. This man said absolutely to everything. Instead of yes, the word was absolutely. And it was driving me nuts. I couldn't even talk to him anymore. So Blanca, you talk to him. If I hear absolutely one more time, I'm going to smack this kid. You got anything like that just makes you angry and triggers you?
Dangling participles.
What's that, Laurie?
I was going to say people that say awesome.
Yes. Awesome's another one.
I was thinking. Mm.
Good, Michelle. I want to hear this because I'm going to retort it. Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know which one you're thinking of.
Well, I can tell you a few that he does.
I'll tell you one. No,
to be honest.
Ones that I do. I do a lot.
I'll be honest.
I'll tell you what. This is part of why Michelle did not like me in the early days. Forget dating. Forget married. Forget having 2 beautiful boys and the love of my life. Michelle came up to me one day at the bar and said, "Hey, can I have change for $1? Sure. 3/4, 2 dimes, nickel? Yeah, okay." And I turn my back and I do it. And during this, she's speaking. She goes, "Yeah, the guy's got to call his girlfriend. I guess she's running late, this and that, this and that, this and that." And I turn around and I go, "Here you go." And she was mad. Like, wow. What the F? Like, he totally ignored me. And later on down the road, it comes up about like, "Yeah, I was kind of mad at you for just ignoring me." I'm like, "About what?" "Change." I'm like, "You asked for change. I made you change." And
but that was, I think it kind of tails into the whole conversation about how the difference between, maybe us in California and you from Boston. I guess we feel the need to explain everything. So we always use that.
So I call
go
it
back to that as a joke where, like, can I have 4/4 for $1? Or, I mean, 4/4 for $1. And he said on the East Coast, they just, here you go. Here's 4/4. Thank you. Whereas we have, feel the need to, like, I got to make a phone call. My Uber's running late. And you have to feel the need to explain.
But it's still, but here we are almost 30 years.
Why?
And it's still prevalent because there are times I will lean over to her and say, "Change for $1," meaning shut up.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I do. I tend to over-explain.
Like, "Hey,
Totally
could
cool.
you check that rear right tire? I think it's flat." And that's all you have to say. And then she'll go into this, like, "We were driving to this winery and this and that."
Yeah, monologuing, on this subject.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
Let it go.
But that's a regional thing, though. That's a real thing. That's California's like that. The South's like that.
But San Dimas is totally
Very much like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when you have to feel the need to be like, "So can I change $1? So my agent called." It's like, the fuck are you talking about? Like,
right.
I'm doing this.
Yeah, I guess I never realized until you pointed it out, and it's still true. I do it to this day. I didn't realize it was a California thing.
It's
the worst thing in the world for me when I travel back.
It seems to have rubbed off on Jay because
he monologues now. Yeah,
he does.
When I go back to my hometown,
when I'm in Boston, I go into a store and go like, when I went after being with Michelle. When I went back to Boston a few years later, I'd walk into a store and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And they'd look at me like, out would come a shotgun cocked. And
what do you want? Right. And that's that way.
Like, hey, remember
what the hell? And
I lived in Boston for a while. It was funny. Jay and we met out here. He's from Boston. I was from California. And then I got a job as a flight attendant right out of college. And so then I went to, of all the places that I got stationed, I was stationed in Boston and he was out here in California. So, I mean, his family helped me go shopping, for fill up my apartment and everything. But it was funny because I told him, everybody in Boston is so rude.
No.
Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I walk into Starbucks to buy something. I'm like, "Oh, good morning." And they look at me like I have two heads. Why are you saying good morning to us. Just what do you want to drink?
It's like when you live out this direction, that kind of talk is like there's a hustle involved here.
Right, exactly. Like you're gonna
they want to get too close, they want to get too personal, and they want something from me. They're going to try to hustle me out of something.
But
that's
Brian, being part of your life being out here and you coming out here so much, you understand that's just Cali. Like, hey, how's it going? Good, man. How are you?
Europe's like that too. Europe is definitely
Philly's like that.
To the point.
When I go to my hometown, where I'm originally from, and I have to go to a drugstore, I almost panic because I know that as I'm standing in line at the Walgreens, someone's going to tell me their life story, whether I want to hear it or not.
Yeah.
And I have to remember to be polite as they're doing it and not look at them like they're insane.
Right.
It's someone who needs a hug badly, but doesn't have anyone to hug them. So they're going to take it out on me at line at the drugstore.
You're the victim.
I'm the victim at this point.
You're throwing off a vibe.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but like even Lori pointing it out, it's like it's one of those moments where, you know, there are times where it's appropriate and times where it's like, why are you talking to me? You know,
it's the when in Rome thing is important too. It's like I have to think, oh yeah, I'm there.
Right.
You know, here we go. Sling Blade Rain Man. Here we go. We're going to do this.
Well, Lori says Philly. And when we were in Philly in August for Expo, we were at the River Run Bar at Marriott, whatever. And the waitress came over, takes the orders, and I go, thanks, hon. And two people said, like, dude, what was that?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Hun.
You called her hun? I go, yeah. They go, that's really defacing for women and the way they feel. And I go, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll call it old school. That's what I call women out here. I call them hun. And by the way, did you notice how she called me hun back?
Yeah.
So should I be upset about this or?
Right.
Because that's the beauty of it. Like every waitress I've ever dealt with in Jersey, Philly, they always, hey hun, how are you? What can I get for you? Could I get this and this and this? You got it, hon. Like it's a thing, and I think
it's a familiar, friendly thing. But
does it become the thing that you should stop, or can you? I
think it's a thing you need to do when it's familiar. So
I think it's more of a salutation, though.
When I see Michelle, I know for a fact when I see Michelle, I mean, I couldn't recall saying it, but I know when I see Michelle, I'm quite confident. I say, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" And if I don't mean it, like if Michelle and I weren't as
that needs to stop.
Friendly, I would do it with Lori.
When Jay's
hey, stud boy from Midwest.
It's not what I say; it's how I say it.
Yeah. And I think you know, you just have to be careful who you're saying things to, and you know who you can say things to. So, you know, if you're, you know, maybe saying hun to a waitress at one restaurant is appropriate, but maybe saying it somewhere else is totally inappropriate.
You don't want to do it in Bayview. You know, it's not
okay to do it. Well,
so after the show, Jay's meeting Brian out on the playground. They're going to settle this.
Bring it on, baby.
Bleachers, right?
Come on, hon.
Yeah. Play that whole brain thing shit with me, buddy. Ain't gonna work.
Go ahead, Lori.
No, I totally agree with Brian on this, actually. I totally do. He's totally right. It's like you're in that moment and there's an enjoyment. I think every time we've ever gone to Expo, I love the fact that when I walk into anywhere and I'm with Christian, Pulse, or anyone else, we sit down and I'm like, hey, hon, how are you? And they go, good, how are you? And I love that rapport. I love the sense of we're actually one-on-one. And I think that's what's lost now.
It's
not one-on-one anymore.
It's less derogatory and more familiar.
No, it's familiar because they appreciate that you get that we're talking one-on-one. And I think that's what the communication breakdown is.
It's affection. It's affection.
It can be. It could be creepy if you don't know them.
But even if you don't know them as a waitress, if I walk into any place...
that position is a little more friendly.
They're going to answer me. They're not going to go, whoa, time out. What's that all about, hon? they're going to be like, "Oh, good. How are you, hon?" I really do.
Good luck, Lori.
Lori, if I met you in a place, would you mind me saying "hun" to you?
Not at all.
Not at all, baby.
But here's the thing, like just moving 60 miles from where I was in Bucks County, like I was from Philly, then we moved to Bucks County. Just coming up here to the Lehigh Valley, I'd be walking down the street, walking the dog or whatever. Hi, how are you today? And they look at me like I have 3 heads because I can't help myself. That's who I am.
Right.
But in this area, they think there's a hustle or where are you from? Because I worked at Friendly's Ice Cream when I first moved up.
Love Friendly's.
There you go.
Lori, can I get a fribble? Can I get a fribble?
Yeah, and you can have a big beef cheeseburger special.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Oh.
So anyway, but when I came up here and I was waitressing at Friendly's up here, I had been waitressing at Friendly's like when I was 16 and worked my way through school in Doylestown. Everybody was like, "Hey, hon, how you doing? What can I get for you?" Yeah. And that's just the way it is. Like everybody's like, "Come on, sit down." If somebody came to the door at my mother-in-law's house, she'd be like, "Come on in. I'm just serving up some spaghetti or whatever." It's like, come on in. This is how we are.
Right.
That's not how this is up here.
Right. It makes a difference. And, something else that I thought would be interesting to bring up. I don't know if any of you can relate to this or not, but I've struggled with regional phrases where they say something and it doesn't mean what it means where I'm from. Have you ever had this?
It's all.
Well, the first time it really hit me hard was the first time I went to England. I was staying with a family, and we had talked about, before I went, we talked about tacos. They'd never had tacos before. Well, they'd never had root beer either. So I brought a 2-liter bottle of root beer when you can still do that. And I brought everything I needed to make tacos. Well, they didn't like the root beer. They just flat out didn't like it. It tastes like cough medicine. It's like, okay, we're not going to drink this anymore. Which now root beer tastes like cough medicine to me because I can taste what they were tasting. I regress. I made tacos. I made a beautiful taco dinner. So what do you think? It's nice. Oh, I'm sorry. Apparently that's what you say when instead of it's good, like we would say here, like, oh, it's very good. Is it?
Right.
It's nice. Like it's good. But I didn't know that's what that meant. And the other thing,
would take that as I can barely choke this taco.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's nice, I guess. But they actually liked it.
Why we left them.
The word was weird.
Well, let me a quick one, Brian. In your house, I know I've been to your house.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have them, but I'm going to ask you to kind of conjure up what word I'm looking for. If you had in each room a cast iron thing that heated that room, what would you call that?
Radiator.
Okay. Now, I will go to my friend from Lake Placid and ask you, if you had a cast iron device in a room that heated the room, what would that be called?
We're still radiator up here.
You are radiator. Okay. Because I grew up with, my mom is from New York.
Mm-hmm.
My dad is from Boston. But when I went to New York, my expressions on things were radiator and umbrella. And let me ask you this, Brian. You have the disco area out in the front. What is that called? What is that area out front called?
It's funny because I call it a porch, but everyone in Europe calls it a veranda.
But Eric, what do you call that thing out front?
It's either the deck or the porch.
Okay, obviously you people hate me, so you're not working with me at all.
I got nothing for you.
Not working.
Front of a house for someone from New York, and Eric, if you are actually from New York,
The stoop.
you should be ashamed of yourself.
I usually am every day.
Okay, I'm just telling you now.
I wake up that way.
Okay, good, because that's how you should feel. The front area of the house is the stoop.
Well, a stoop I think of as a concrete thing.
Yeah, like
Yes.
that, little couple
The
of steps.
stairs.
I have
you're
a stoop in the
wrong,
back.
because
I have a porch in the
I'm
front.
Wrought iron railing.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like,
Brownstone.
there's all these little things. Like, I loved having my mother would say coffee,
Coffee.
an umbrella, and radiator.
You know who says
My dad
coffee?
would say coffee.
You know who says coffee? Rachel
No.
Lynch says coffee.
Does she say coffee?
She says coffee. Yes.
She's from
It's very
Connecticut,
funny.
in a very ritzy
Yeah.
area.
I pointed out to, oh my God, I said, that's like, yeah, it's like an Edith Bunker flashback every time you say the word.
KW.
But you know what? To kind of bring it all back to what you started with, isn't it great where you can feel as though you're connecting with people on their level?
Except when you are confused, which was the other thing I wanted to bring up about my England trips. When I started to go to England on the DJ capacity, when I would go to BPM, you'd fly in, maybe the day before, you get some rest, get cleaned up. You bought some clothes for the trip. You showed up at the show. People saw you that knew you, and they would look at you and they would say, "Hey, Brian, you okay? You all right, Brian?" I thought I was. I mean,
Until now,
maybe I look tired or something. Are you okay? It's like, yeah, I'm fine. That's how they say, "How are you?" They don't say, "How are you?" They say, "You okay?"
Well, I mean, Becky,
and it was confusing.
good. Are you good?
I thought I looked like hell. I'm like, I must have
right?
crow's feet. I must look this haggard. Everyone was saying it to me, and I
It's a
got a
Cali
complex
thing.
about it.
No, it's Callie thing today. Hey, man, how's it going? You good? Meaning, is everything okay?
Yeah, no, that's okay.
That's
That's. But you okay?
I haven't heard
Like
that.
like
in a minute.
inquisitive. Like,
You okay?
is everything all right?
Yeah, you good? You okay?
That's what you say to someone who falls down.
Right.
You need
You
a
know?
doctor.
When they fall down, you don't say, "How are you?" You say, "You okay?"
Do you have a skull fracture? No. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's just two countries separated by
Well,
a common language.
But I think it all wraps back around to being able to understand that sometimes you need to speak to people on their level.
But not play down to them. Just play to them.
No, never play down. But if you're comfortable, do it. Like if I get a Boston client, I am so excited where I'm like, dude, I'm slowly dropping like Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline. Oh my God, really? You totally get this.
Oh,
dude, Red Sox. Rah, rah, rah,
Get
rah.
coffee right now.
That's my comfort zone.
Lori, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Just be genuine when you're talking to anyone.
I like it.
That's
Michelle,
good.
what
Yeah.
say you?
She hit the nail on the head. Be yourself and be genuine, just like you said, Laurie. That's the best answer yet.
I know both of these ladies, and I'll tell you that they are very, very, very kind, compassionate people who are just friendly all day long. Don't let them scare you with this stuff. Okay. They're not as mean as they came off in the show. They're actually very friendly in real
They're
life.
amazing women.
Yes, they are.
San
On
Diego
that
High
note,
School
I actually have to
Bulls.
go, Jay. I gotta go walk the dog since you're not here.
Oh,
Oh,
So even though we have
don't leave,
Wait,
babe.
they don't
We're
apparently
live. No, babe, we're on the show. You can't leave yet.
guilt.
I
Eric,
gotta
you got any final thoughts?
Stay on there, I'll take her.
Do things right even when nobody's watching. Spell
Oh.
things right. Use your correct grammar. I think it shows respect to the client.
Wow.
Howie.
I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you.
Don't hit me. Don't hit me.
Howie.
Just don't hit me.
That's awesome.
That's all I want.
I tried to go like straight and honest and nice, and Howie just
You
trumps
did
me with
well.
that.
You did well.
Please
you did
don't
well.
hit me. All right, let's put a fork in this. We were only supposed to do this for
Hold on.
10,
I didn't
15
get
minutes.
my chance.
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't get-
I'm so sorry.
Oh
You-
my God.
Okay,
Seriously?
the extended remix. Let's do this, Jay.
I'm gonna even move for this one. You ready? Here we go.
You suck. You're in Vegas.
Yeah, I am. Look.
I see Paris right
There
here.
it is.
Look at that.
Yeah, there it is. You know
Nice
what?
Final thoughts.
Be nice, be kind, and always do your best. Love you.
Well, what can I say to follow that up? I got nothing.
Okay.
So elegant and profound. I'm at a loss for words. I'm getting a little teary-eyed here, Jay.
Bring the BPM down to 0.
Right. This mic drop, but don't drop a mic.
Back to the desk.
Don't. All right, guys. This
Thank
is only
you
supposed
so
to
much,
be
everyone.
like
We love that you pay attention to any of this. And
right. So we were only supposed to go 10 or 15 minutes with this, but we went for the whole hour. So
wow.
I think we were just having fun. Well, okay, fine. We did about 15 minutes, shaved to 45. But you know what? That's just how the shows go.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
It is what it is. And we
Be
know
better
that.
tomorrow than today.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.